And anybody who has missed the attendance call, roll call, can post the attendance in WhatsApp group because I'll check WhatsApp group first, then we'll enter the attendances in the ERP, right? And since we were trying to discuss the utilitarian theories, so there were four fundamental pillars of the utilitarian theories. One was instrumental that we already have discussed. Political, again we have discussed. Integrative, I believe, was left, and ethical, I believe, was left. So, if any of you can add anything with regards to integrative theories, then please tell me. What textbooks are trying to tell us regarding integrative theories is, I have showed you, focusing on integration of producer, buyer, and consumer for betterment of the economy. What do we mean by this? अच्छा नई बात करनी है तो मुझे पहले बता दो मैं फिर पूछना बंद करूंगा a simple yes or no in chat box is gonna do the magic if kids are not gonna speak then I would stop asking the questions because that way the job becomes much more easier right मुझे chat box में भी नहीं बताओगे okay fine then I'm gonna assume that all of you don't want to talk. So let's continue. Integrative theories basically focus on the integration of producer, buyer, and consumer. That simply means that until unless and I just needed you to understand the difference between buyer and consumer. There are instances when buyer itself is a consumer, and there are instances when buyer is different and a consumer is a different person. Whenever, as a parent, anybody buys any item for the child, whenever, as a family man, anybody buys any item for wife, whenever, as a friend, any friend buys any gift for another friend, then the buyer is different and user or consumer are different. And that makes the process a lot more difficult because if buyer and consumers are different, then the considerations are going to be different. And in order to, mostly products basically are made for the consumers. Mostly products, we have been shown in our advertisements also that if you are a consumer, then your life is going to get better in this manner or in this regard. Like if you purchase a new shirt, you're gonna get a job. If you purchase a new bike, you're gonna get a friend. If you purchase a new car, you're gonna feel like traveling in a drawing room or something like anything very very luxurious or something very fast and sporty. So all those advertisements, if you can recall, then you will be able to understand that they are made for the user. That user is gonna enjoy the feeling of using the product. But if somehow the buyer and user are different, buyer and consumer are different, then the process becomes a lot more difficult. Because buyer's consideration are gonna be something totally different. Buyer is not sure how the user is gonna feel about the buyer can take care of the money in his pocket. Buyer can take care of the emotional satisfaction that he will be getting once he starts seeing or watching the user actually using the product. Right? So whenever see in any exchange there are two parties, money is exchanged and some item or some item of some value is again given to other party. And that is known as return reward. If some reward is gonna be given to you, then what is it that we are paying or returning in lieu of it? So in case of buyer and consumer being different, the buyer is the person who is spending money out of his pocket. But reward is gonna get accrued to some other person who is actually gonna be the user. So buyer's reward is only the emotional satisfaction and the money that he's able to save in his pocket. That is the only reward that the buyer is getting. That's why the integrated theories or the pillar of utilitarian theories actually is able to establish a more closer relationship between producer, buyer, and consumer. Ethical theories, I believe we are discussing ethics from day one. Ethics is something that we all know by now. So, not need not to be discussed over here. And since you kids are not gonna complain, you kids are not gonna ask any questions, so I can so safely move forward. The next part is the managerial theory, which has been divided into three subgroups: corporate social performance, social accountability, auditing, and reporting (SAAR). I believe some of you might have heard of it. SAR करके बोलते हैं इसको. And social responsibility for multinationals. Social responsibility for multinationals is very keen topic to be discussed because multinationals actually are not performing in their own country. They are operating in multiple countries. So the objectives of the company, the multinational company, are established in one country, and then those objectives are spread across the globe in multiple countries wherein the operations of the company are happening, and that makes the job even more difficult. Because if let's say we like Chinese have their operations, Chinese have one single point agenda that they want to earn the maximum money possible. Anyway, they want to earn the maximum money. So whenever they, even if they, one point is that they never establish their plants outside their own country. And even if they establish their plants outside their own country, they want the Chinese population to go and work in those plants. They never hire the people from the local population. If tomorrow China establishes one company in our country, then only the Chinese people would come and join the company. We Indians are not gonna get any good job in that company. So social responsibility for multinationals is very keen subject to be discussed. And thankfully, you kids are not asking questions, so we can move forward. Right? Corporate social performance, it aims to measure the contribution of social variable makes to the economic performance. I know this line is a bit critical, but again, one more time, you kids are not going to ask the question, so we'll move on to the next. The problem is that managing firms considering social and economic factors together. It is based on the assumption that business depends on society for its growth and sustainability. Corporate social performance is further subdivided into five dimensions in order to keep detailed information about its existence or corporate change, like centrality measures, specificity, proactivity, voluntarism, and visibility. These are the five pillars that the CSP basically backs upon. So centrality measures the way CSR is compatible with the missions of the company, goals of the company, not the country in which they are operating. Specificity guards the advantages of CSR brings to the corporation. I have told you so many times that no company is out there. One kid has a message. With a managerial theory regarding CSR, it is having three pillars. Those three pillars are CSPs, SAR, and social responsibility for multinationals. And we are discussing each pillar of managerial theory separately. I have not told many things about the managerial theory yet because we are required to understand all the three pillars and those three pillars separately. ठीक है? I was talking to Tana. She asked me a question. Can I repeat the managerial theory part? Managerial theory is not over yet. We are now discussing the first pillar of managerial theory, which was the corporate social performance. Got it? Janaya, if you are clear, then I can. Okay, fine. She said yes. So, first pillar is corporate social performance. It measures the contribution of social variable which is made to the economic performance. Social variables are how much society is getting benefited by the company and whether that benefit provided to the society is actually getting converted into economic performance or not. Economic performance we simply know as demand and supply. There has to be demand for us to supply the goods. So if society is better, if society is healthy, if society is having enough purchasing power, then only they can purchase the products produced by the company. Right? So CSR is gonna create a better society a healthier society, a more financially secure society, which has enough disposable income so that the demand for their products keeps on continuing. Right? So first point of CSP is apparently clear that we are going to create a society, better society with a view that better society is going to give us better demand. And in order to fulfill that demand, the better society is going to give us the better workers so that we can supply the quality products. So it's a circle only. We are creating a better society. Better society demands better products, and in order to produce those better products, this better society gives us better workers. That is the economic form. So economy is progressing, workers are getting educated, demand is being created, supply is being maintained by the company. This is the first point of CSP. If it is clear, then I can move on.
To please explain.
Okay, fine. One more time, Bankit has said the problem is that of managing the firm considering social and economic factors together. And this is something which I tried to tell you in the beginning of this my statement that we are creating a better society with a view that it is going to demand the better products. And better products are going to be supplied only with the help of better workers. So now, and those better workers are going to produce better things, then they are going to become the consumer. So demand and supply is going to be created out of the society that we are making as a better society. Okay. The problem here is that how far we are required to spend on betterment of the society and how far we are required to spend on making the quality products. Because nothing under the sun comes for free. आपको दुनिया में कुछ भी फ्री का नहीं मिलता है. हम लोग तो ऐसे टाइम में आ गए जहाँ पे हम लोग पानी के लिए भी पैसा दे रहे हैं. If you ask any senior in the society जिसकी एज 70 ईयर्स से ज्यादा की हो, उससे पूछो अगर सर 70 ईयर्स पहले आप पानी का पैसा देते थे क्या, तो वो हंसेगा. क्योंकि एयर एंड वाटर कंसिडर टू बी एज फ्री आइटम्स फॉर ऑलवेज. लेकिन अब हम लोग इस पार्ट में रहते हैं सोसाइटी के जहाँ पे नथिंग कम्स फॉर फ्री. ठीक है. So the basic agenda with the company always remains that to minimize the cost and maximize the production and hence maximize the profit. This is one line within which every and any company can be defined. Companies want to minimize the cost to maximize the production in order to maximize the profit. जब कॉस्ट मिनिमम होगा तभी प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा होगा, जब प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा होगा तभी प्रॉफिट ज्यादा आएगा. राइट. So companies want to minimize the cost, and social welfare activities do entail cost. ऐसा कोई सा भी सोशल वेलफेयर काम नहीं है जो कंपनी कर सके विदाउट एनी सिंगल पेनी स्पेंड. हर काम करने के लिए उसको पैसा लगाना पड़ेगा. इवन इफ दे आर सेंडिंग देयर एम्प्लॉइज टू वर्क इन द सोसाइटी फॉर अ डे और टू, अच्छे वो कहते हैं कि ठीक है साहब आप जाके दो घरों की मदद करो, टू यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू हेल्प टू हाउसेज. So the time the workers are spending in order to help those two houses, that is the time that those two workers were supposed to be spending on machines with machines to produce the quality products. तो जितने टाइम उन मशीन का प्रोडक्शन नहीं हुआ, उस मशीन की कॉस्ट, उस मशीन का रेंट, उस मशीन के ऊपर लगने वाला लेबर, वो सारा का सारा वेस्ट गया. एंड दैट वेस्टेज itself is a cost. ठीक. तो हम as a company in order to look into the CSR, when we are talking about the corporate social performance, how far we are required to take care of the social welfare agenda and how far we are required to look into the economic factors, only demand and supply or profitability. ठीक. क्योंकि अगर हम सिर्फ प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी फोकस करेंगे then social welfare is gonna become difficult to manage. लेकिन अगर हम सिर्फ सोशल वेलफेयर फोकस करेंगे तो क्वालिटी प्रोडक्शन इज गोना बिकम डिफिकल्ट. क्योंकि फिर तो हर आदमी हमारे पास वेलफेयर के लिए तो आ ही सकता है. एंड इंस्टेड ऑफ वी स्पेंडिंग आवर टाइम ऑन मशीन्स, वी वुड बी स्पेंडिंग द टाइम ऑन वेलफेयर. हम ये कर ही नहीं सकते कि सारी दुनिया को एम्प्लॉय कर लें, सारी दुनिया इंटायर वर्ल्ड इज आवर एम्प्लॉय. ऐसा हम कर नहीं सकते. वी कैन नॉट प्ले गॉड. So we have limited number of workforce, and help is something which anybody likes to receive. क्योंकि हेल्प इज ऑलवेज फॉर फ्री, है ना? जब भी हम हेल्प लेते हैं, लेकिन इन बिजनेस वर्ल्ड इवन द हेल्प कॉस्ट मनी. Whenever we are helping the society, it is going to cost us money, and that money is going to be coming out of the production that we should be doing instead of doing CSR. ठीक? So this is first problem that CSP faces, कि वो social welfare पे कितना focus करे और economic factors पे कितना focus करे. इसका एक एक उन्होंने assumption के through माना था कि business success of business basically depends upon the society. The more better the society is, the better the business is gonna perform. But that is only an assumption because we have seen so many businesses failing. There is, it is believed that society or the population in US is living far better life standard than us. They are the developed economy, we are developing economy. The lifestyle, life standards, everything is better over there, and everything is bad in our country. हम लोग ये जानते हैं, हम लोग यू नेम एन आइटम इन आवर performance item in our country, and I can show you that it is there are lot many number of people who actually are saying good thing as well as bad thing about that particular item. तो हमारी कंट्री वो है जहाँ पे हर चीज अभी डेवलपिंग स्टेज के अंदर है, और यूएस की कंट्री वो है जहाँ पे हर चीज डेवलप हो चुकी है. Even then, every 1,000 products launched in US country as new products. By the end of the year कितने products survive करते हैं यूएस इकोनॉमी के अंदर. ये सक्सेस रेट है ओनली. ठीक है. हर साल अगर वहां पे 1,000 प्रोडक्ट्स लॉन्च होते हैं तो साल के एंड तक कितने सर्वाइव करते हैं. एनी नंबर इज गुड विद मी. जस्ट either speak the number or type the number in chat box. 1,000 प्रोडक्ट यूएस में लॉन्च अगर होते हैं तो कितने सक्सेसफुल होते हैं साल खत्म होने तक, या कितने सर्वाइव कर पाते हैं साल खत्म होने तक. It is not more than 9 products. 991 is the failure rate. 0.009 is the success rate. So this assumption that business depends upon the society for its growth and sustainability, this assumption itself is very loosely written. क्योंकि अगर better society है तो भी products ज़्यादा fail हो रहे. Rejection rate is so high कि you cannot imagine. People reject the products even at the fanciest of idea. कि साहब हमको ये प्रोडक्ट इसलिए अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है कि हमको इसको देख के मन खुश नहीं हुआ. ठीक. And this is the lamest excuse that any consumer can at any point of time can give. But excuses like these are prevalent in the market. US people are actually able to make these kind of claims. Right? So better society does not always mean that business is going to do better. But yes, better society always means that business is required to do better. Business is supposed to do better. Business is required to take care of the society and the population and the consumers in a better manner. Right? And the 5 pillars of CSP are centrality, specificity, proactivity, voluntarism, and visibility. Visibility is basically easier to understand because if you kids can remember, हम लोग को एक बहुत ही खराब सा डायलॉग पहले सिखाया जाता था, जो चीज दिखती है वो बिकती है. प्राइमरली बॉलीवुड में हम लोग को ये डायलॉग सिखाया, विच इज वेरी वेरी बैड. बट स्टिल ये डायलॉग हम लोग बहुत टाइम से सुनते आए हैं कि जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. एनीथिंग विच इज विजिबल इज सोल्ड. So visibility refers to the way responsible behavior is perceived by the community of stakeholders. If you are more visible, that simply means more stakeholders are constantly able to watch you. If they are constantly watching your progress or performance, then you are required to behave in a more responsible manner. This is what it means, right? So the larger a company becomes, audio is breaking. एक सेकंड रुक बेटा, मैं अपना चेंज करने की कोशिश करता हूँ.
सर अभी ठीक है, तब ब्रेक हो रहा था।
चल ठीक है। Anyway, so visibility सिंपली मीन्स कि जितना ज्यादा हम विजिबल है उतने ही ज्यादा स्टेक होल्डर्स हमारे बिहेवियर को वॉच कर रहे हैं, और जितने ज्यादा वो हमारे बिहेवियर को वॉच कर रहे हैं उतना ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल वी हैव टू बिहेव, राइट? एंड द मोर रिस्पॉन्सिबल we are behaving, the better we are going to be perceived by the stakeholders. And in amongst the stakeholders, consumer is one stakeholder. So in order to fare better in the eyes of consumer, we are required to behave responsibly. And by behaving responsibly, we actually would be or should be able to increase our visibility. And the more visible we will become, the more buyers we should get. So it is only a circle. You want to increase the visibility, you want to improve the behavior. In order to improve the behavior, you are required to behave responsibly. And if you are behaving responsibly, then only your stakeholders are going to start perceiving you as better company, and they are going to stick with you. With your perception in the eyes of stakeholders improving, your market, the demand of your market, of your product is going to increase, and that demand would again increase your visibility. So it is totally a circle. Voluntarism is I that account for the discretion the firm in implementing the CSR. I just need you to understand that it is willingness, because all the firms have mission, vision, and goals. I'm not sure whether this part has been taught to you in some other subject or not, but every company has mission, every company has a vision, every company has a objective and goals. And those mission, vision, objectives, and goals, they basically paves a path for us to follow the activities prescribed in CSR. ठीक है? So if our mission or vision is such that we are required to perform more CSR activities, can you imagine any company wherein the mission and vision of company is such that company automatically is forced to pursue these CSR activities? बता सकते हो ऐसी कोई कंपनी या ऐसा कोई मिशन या विजन या ऐसे कोई ऑब्जेक्टिव किसी कंपनी का?
Sir, Tata Consultancy Services.
Tata Consultancy is a profit making venture, right? So they would never try to increase the degree of their social
Sir, your voice is
performances.
breaking.
फिर से ब्रेक करने लगी, मैं दूसरा नेट पर लगा के देखता हूँ बेटा, शायद आ
हाँ
जाए।
सर, सर अभी भी सुना नहीं आपने
एक सेकंड रुक।
क्या बोला?
How is it now? Is my voice clear now?
Right now it's clear, sir.
Okay, fine. I changed the network. Anyway, so volunteerism is basically an activity which companies are supposed to do on their own. And that volunteerism will come only from the mission and vision of the company. One kid told me that Tata Consultancy has a very high degree of social performance indexes, and they are doing all their jobs in voluntarily. But the best example could have been those NGOs, those not-for-profit organizations, because in those organizations, profit earning is not the agenda. That's why even if they earn the profit, they return the profit back to the society, and that is the action, voluntary action in which the companies are performing more CSR rather than earning more profits. TCS is a profit-making venture. TCS is required to earn certain number of profits figures every year. So the degree of voluntarism in TCS is not as compared to any NGO or any not-for-profit organization. ठीक है?
Right, sir.
Proactivity measures the degree of reaction to external demands. It simply means Let's say uh, let's say we own a company and we are selling a product in the market which is of certain color, right? And somehow the market sentiments change overnight and they tell us that this color is bad for your skin because it absorbs certain sun rays and those sun rays give you skin cancer. So a general advisory is issued by the United Nations that people should avoid wearing this color of clothes. Right. And our company is making the products or clothes in that color, primarily because it was our prime selling number color. So what we should do? We already have a batch ready in our godowns. We already have some goods available in the market. क्या करना चाहिए?
दोनों सर।
हाँ बेटा,
पता नहीं सर।
हो
आई डोंट नो।
हमारी कंपनी है यार, हमने पैसा लगा के वो सामान बनाया था और यूएन
राइट।
से एक जनरल एडवाइजरी इशू हुई कि इस कलर का कपड़ा मत खरीदो। और हमारा बहुत सारा बैच मार्केट में भी पड़ा हुआ है और हमारा बहुत सारा बैच गोडाउन में भी पड़ा हुआ है। तो हमको एक डिसीजन लेना है बस, जस्ट इट्स एन इमेजिनरी कंपनी, तो कोई सा भी डिसीजन ले। क्लासरूम्स आर दी बेस्ट प्लेसेस टू मेक मिस्टेक। तो यहाँ पे मिस्टेक करेगा, हम लोग इम्प्रूव करेंगे उसको। बट दीज मिस्टेक्स आर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू बी कमिटेड इन द रियल मार्केट प्लेस, है ना? तो क्लासरूम्स आर सीरियसली द बेस्ट प्लेसेस। तो जस्ट मुझे बता दे कि क्या करना चाहिए हम लोग। एंड एनी डिसीजन इज गुड विद मी, मेरे को फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा इस बात से। We are just required to look at the nuances of that decision. How is it going to affect us, and whether we are going to be called as proactive with regards to CSP or not. ठीक है? This is the agenda of entire discussion. Just take a decision. A batch is ready in godowns. Certain amount of goods are already being sold in the market, and a general advisory has been issued कि साहब ये वाला कलर इस्तेमाल नहीं करना, it is bad for skin. What should we do? See, this uncertainty itself is the proactivity that they want to tell us about. If company takes too long of a time to decide on any matter, then the company is not going to be regarded as the proactive company. Proactivity simply means that we are preparing ourselves for the future events. We are ready to modulate our actions as per the changes happening in the future, which nobody can foresee. Right? So this inactivity, this indecisiveness, this these words that you uttered कि सर पता नहीं क्या करेगा, see, that is the lack of proactivity.
यस सर।
And this lack of proactivity actually reduces the CSP quotient in our company, क्योंकि जितना देर हम लगाएगा
राइट राइट।
उतना ही देर वो माल मार्केट में रहेगा, है ना? which is bad for the skin of population. और जितना देर वो माल मार्केट में रहेगा तो उतनी देर बिकेगा, भले ही कम
करेक्ट
नंबर में
करेक्ट।
बिके, भले ही कम यूनिट से बिके, उसका दाम शॉपकीपर गिरा देगा, लेकिन वो बिकेगा जरूर. And anybody who is gonna start using that newly purchased item is gonna have some harm done to his or her skin. ठीक? So this productivity is one question, one pillar to measure the CSP. ठीक है? Specificity gauges the advantages CSR brings to the corporation. That simply the thing that I am telling you that nothing under the sun comes for free. हमको दुनिया में कभी भी कोई भी चीज फ्री में नहीं मिलती है. So even if we are performing the corporate social responsibility, even if we are performing social welfare activities, they are gonna cost us something. And since we are a company, we are required to maximize our profit. We are required to maximize our wealth. Remember, I told you that profit maximization, wealth maximization are two objectives of any company. Companies should always strive to maximize the profit as well as the wealth, right? So, how much cost we are incurring on CSR activities, and what is the quotient of profit that those CSR activities that cost is actually able to give us? हमको ये स्पेसिफिसिटी हम स्पेसिफिकली हमको गौर करना पड़ता है। वी आर रिक्वायर्ड टू जज कि अगर हम 100 रुपया सीएसआर में खर्च करेगा तो हमारा रेवेन्यू कितना बढ़ेगा। इज इट गोना इंक्रीज बाय 1%, 2%, 3%, 5% और 10%। दिस इज द स्पेसिफिसिटी which is required out of the CSP indexes. Centrality measures the way CSR is compatible with the mission of the core groups. That part is easy to understand. If company, let's say I can give you one company which had a punchline in most of the advertisements, they used to call it on TV. Let's make a better tomorrow. Any kid has heard that line? सुनिए किसी
Yes,
ने
sir.
line? So if
Yes, sir.
that is the mission of a company to make a better tomorrow, how they are going to perform these CSR activities?
Or like uh, provide
क्या बोला?
provides sir providing everything for the children so that they can have a better tomorrow maybe
अरे how
through
मतलब if
NGOs.
we want to have a better future, then the first thing
Yes,
required is to at least survive today, है कि नहीं?
yes, survival is
आज जिंदा
important.
रहेगा तभी तो कल अच्छा वाला
Hmm.
देखेगा.
Yes,
And in
sir.
order to survive today, in order to live the day successfully, we are required to consume. In order to consume, we are required to produce. In order to produce, our company is there. है कि नहीं? And
Yes,
since
sir.
our company is there, that's why it is consuming the resources of the environment and it is polluting the environment as well. कि मशीन चल रही तो
Correct.
पॉल्यूशन तो होगा, भले ही नॉइज पॉल्यूशन हो.
Hmm.
ठीक, तो कल अच्छा हो इसके लिए जरूरी है कि हम आज जिंदा रहे. आज जिंदा रहेगा तो खाना खाएगा, खाना खाएगा तो खाना हमको बनाना भी पड़ेगा, बनाएगा तो पॉल्यूशन होगा. तो कैसे करेगा? हाँ,
By selling the product in the market.
fine, I am totally in line with you. We are required to sell the products, and that is something which centrality is about. Since we are required to have a better society with which we started our discussion, that better society is gonna demand the better quality products. Better quality products, in order to supply the better quality products, we are required to employ the better technology with the better workforce. And we are required to use the raw material more wisely, right? And when every performance index in our company we are making it better, that simply means we are reducing the degree of pollution, we are reducing the amount of wastage, and we are providing longer lasting quality products to the society. And that is how the CSPs is indexed, is measured. If we are able to fulfill the promises made by us to the consumer, then social performance index is getting justified. If we are not fulfilling the promise that we have made to the consumers, even by selling our products, then we are not justifying the CSP indexes and we are required to improve. Done? चले आगे.
Sir, so the last example you gave,
एक सेकंड बेटा, बहुत हल्के
sir,
बोल रही है. अपना माइक को मुंह के पास लाएगी क्या?
sir, the last example you gave,
See,
so what should we do in that situation?
sir, good afternoon. बीच क्लास में I'm so sorry. Goswami sir came and I had to leave the chamber. उन्होंने आते ही डिस्कशन शुरू कर दिया. मेरी आवाज आ रही है यहाँ पे?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Clearly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we are trying to discuss centrality, which should be compatible with the missions or goals of the objective or the company, right? That simply means every time we are performing a social welfare agenda, every time we are doing a social welfare task, it should be compatible with the mission or vision or goals of the company, right? Mission and vision or goals of the company. I know there are two financial goals. One is profit maximization, second is wealth maximization. Wealth is gonna get maximized only when the profit is maximized. In order to maximize the profit, we are required to sell more. If we are selling more, that simply means we are required to give the quality products because society is not gonna accept any product of inferior quality in large numbers. अब वो थोड़ा बहुत तो खरीद सकती है अगर क्वालिटी खराब है तो, लेकिन उसको बहुत ज्यादा नंबर्स में कभी नहीं खरीदेगी. And that in order to now it brings us to a quotient wherein we are required to produce better so as to sell better so as to perform corporate social responsibility in a better manner. So now mission vision and goals of the company are should be seriously aligned with the CSR activities. ठीक है, चलो आगे.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. First, social accountability, auditing and reporting. SAR. It is related with the social performance, contribution through accounting, auditing, and reporting procedures. I seriously want your views ki, whether it is something that we are required to understand or something that we are required to cram only. क्योंकि जो पहली लाइन किताब दे रही है strictly related to social performance, contributions through accounting, auditing, and reporting. I am not sure how accounting procedures can perform any social performance. अकाउंटिंग ऑडिटिंग एंड रिपोर्टिंग ये तीनों तो बुकिश चीजें हैं. हम कम साल भर में कितना बेचा कितना खरीदा उससे सोशल परफॉर्मेंस का क्या लेन देन है. नहीं हेल्प करोगे?
Sir, no idea.
See, if you focus on the first part reporting, then how what reporting should be, what auditing is about. हम लोग ऑडिट कंपनी का करवाते ही क्यों हर साल? These are general knowledge questions. They have nothing to do with our subject or syllabus. है ना? ऑडिटिंग क्यों होनी चाहिए कंपनियों की हर साल? होनी भी चाहिए नहीं होनी चाहिए मुझे ऐसे बताओ चलो. ऑडिटिंग होनी
Sir,
चाहिए.
examination, inspection के लिए maybe
क्यों बेटा
company
क्यों
की.
करना है इंस्पेक्शन? एंड who
Uh,
is government to inspect my company? गवर्नमेंट को मेरी कंपनी का इंस्पेक्शन करना ही क्यों है?
ताकि प्रोडक्टिव स्टेप आगे लिया जाए.
नहीं बेटा क्योंकि मैं एज ए कंपनी ना गवर्नमेंट का ही लैंड एयर और वाटर इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूँ. So government wants to check whether I am giving healthier product to the population. This is one part. Government wants to check whether I am paying my taxes duly or not. अगर मैं गवर्नमेंट को ये बताना शुरू कर दूं कि साहब मैंने साल में सिर्फ 10,000 यूनिट्स बेचा है जहां पे एक्चुअल में बेच रहा हूँ 20,000 यूनिट्स, तो गवर्नमेंट वुड स्टार्ट लूजिंग इट्स टैक्स मनी, राइट? So auditing basically is checking the part that whether whatever I have told is true or not. This is what auditing is about. So first my reporting should be above board कि मैं जितना भी काम कर रहा हूँ सारा मैं क्लियरली गवर्नमेंट को बताऊं so that government can charge its due taxes from me and government can check whether I am performing in a responsible manner or not as a company. मैं अपने एम्प्लॉयज को तो हैरेस नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं अपने एम्प्लॉयज को तो एक्सप्लॉइट नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं सोसाइटी को तो हैरेस नहीं कर रहा हूँ. All these things are required to be checked by the government. So my reporting should be such that all these things come into picture, so that if any corrective measures is required with regards to my company are taken by the government. And accounting is actually balancing your income and expenses, कि हमने जितना खर्चा किया है वो सारा का सारा हमारा वापस आया कि नहीं आया, राइट? So accounting first gives us the view whether whatever we are spending is coming back to us or not. Second, it requires us to report anything and everything honestly. And once it is audited by the government, then it becomes something which is above board and can be believed by anybody and everybody or all the stakeholders. And stakeholders' belief in companies' honesty and welfareness is so important, because at any point of time, any stakeholders turns away from us, then either we lose the source of money or we lose the consumer. And consumer itself is one of the source of money. ठीक, अगर शेयर होल्डर हमसे दूर चला जाता है तो उसका जो शेयर कैपिटल हमको मिल सकता था वो नहीं मिलेगा. एंड इफ शेयर कैपिटल इज नॉट available to us, then we are required to take the loans. If we are taking the loans, that simply means हमारी कंपनी की जो करंट लायबिलिटी है that is gonna become very very high. और मेरा क्लास ही खत्म होने वाला है तो. Anyway, let's move on to CSR. CSR for multinationals. This point was clear ना बेटा, मैं आगे चलूँ ना?
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
MNCs are required to perform more responsible manner. Why? ऐसा क्यों है कि हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशंस एमएनसी से ज्यादा होती हैं बजाय अपनी डोमेस्टिक लोकल कंपनीज से? Or why the MNCs are required to behave in a more responsible manner whenever they are operating in any foreign country other than the country of origination? ऐसा क्यों है? Because MNCs always bring in the cross-cultural issues up to the forum or dais. वो एक कल्चर से निकल के दूसरे कल्चर में आते हैं, and they are required to adopt to the cultural norms prevalent in the society where they have started performing now. And the global CSR actually has established very clearly that even there are economic differences in the two countries, even there could be social differences in the two countries, but every MNC is required to uphold the better part. So if a company from developed country comes to my country, which is a developing country, then they are required to uphold the better norms of the developed country. If I, from a developing country, go to a country which is developed, which is more advanced than my country, then I am required to follow the norms which are more developed. I cannot bring my norms to their country. ठीक, अगर वो अच्छी जगह से हमारे पास आ रहे हैं तो उनको अपनी अच्छाई हमारे पास लेके आनी, और अगर हम खराब जगह से अच्छी जगह पे जा रहे हैं तो हमको वहां जाके फास्टेस्ट पॉसिबल मैनर में अच्छी चीजें सीखनी. दैट इज द बेसिक नॉर्म विद ऑल द एमएनसी. इफ इट इज क्लियर तो मैं आगे बढ़ूँ.
Clear, sir.
ओके फाइन. द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक विद अस इज, छोड़ो इसको, आज छोड़ते हैं, मेरा क्लास का टाइम वैसे भी खत्म हो रहा है. बट इफ यू किड्स हैव द एक्सेस टू पार्टनरशिप एक्ट, देन प्लीज गो थ्रू इट. बेटर होगा कि हम लोग क्लास के अंदर ना डिस्कशन ज्यादा करें बेटा. वैसे तो मैं हर क्लास में ये बात कहता हूँ कि हम लोग डिस्कस ज्यादा करना चाहिए, but still it would be a lot better if we are able to discuss the things more. Your level is not of the crammers. तुम लोग को cram करने की जरूरत नहीं होनी चाहिए, तुम लोग को पता होना चाहिए. Anyway, any kid has any idea what is a partnership?
Agreement between two person.
Beta, agreement between two persons is basically taking us towards the direction of the contract. And contract act हम लोग कर चुके हैं ना पहले,
Yes, sir.
है ना? सो जो तू बता रही है वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट से ज्यादा मिलता जुलता है बेटा, पार्टनरशिप नहीं है. अगर any agreement is has taken place between two parties and that agreement is enforceable by law, then it becomes a contract.
Person person agreed to do a business together and share profit and loss.
Yes, that part is more required to be understood, because two people come together to perform certain activities jointly or separately for any single agenda, ठीक, for any single objective, and they are required to share the profits as well as the losses. That is what Partnership Act is about. And only one question of general knowledge: is this partnership enforceable by law?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is enforceable by law up to the extent wherein those actions of the partnership agreement comes into picture. अगर हमने कह रखा है कि साहब every time I come to class and I'm gonna wave my hand like this at least twice in a class, and by me waving my hand you can